Guyana's delicate frontier coastline is a thin strip of land that separates the Atlantic Ocean from the lush tropical interior. For centuries, the people of this South American nation have called this vulnerable region home, eking out a living from the sea and fertile soil. Ecosystems like those surrounding the Guyanese coast are dynamic and ever-changing, and the cycles they experience have an impact on the lives of those who live there. Mineral-rich mud banks are pushed along the coast by a broader ecosystem, from the Amazon in Brazil to the Orinoco in Venezuela. This ecosystem is a vital component of the coastline. It faces this constant cycle of erosion and accretion, with an ebb and flow cycle lasting approximately 30 years. However, this delicate balance is disrupted by severe periods of mud scarcity and erosion, which occur 3 times per century, therefore allowing high tides to penetrate further inland. Coastal region is home to mangrove forests, which are ecosystems in themselves, providing a natural barrier against the ocean's fury. Efforts have been made to grow and maintain these forests, but the erosion of the coastline poses a significant threat to their survival. The constant and unprecedented melting of ice and snow in colder regions, driven by a gradual rise in global temperatures, is also contributing to the problem. This melted water is discharged into our oceans, leading to a predicted rise in global sea levels between 1 and 4 feet by the end of this century. For Guyana, this means that its border wall approaches a point of irreversible collapse.
How vulnerable is our coastland to the effects of sea level rise and overtopping? The vulnerability of the coastal communities, and when we consider the location of those ancient cokers and sluices that are now buried by the sea, it is clear how much tides have increased over time. At high tide, the seawall on Guyana's east coast has been put to the test, resulting in overtopping in places like Kitty, right outside of the Russian embassy. This is where the majority of Guyanese are located. And look at this kind of overtopping that is occurring there. This doesn't just happen in one part of our coast, but almost everywhere. For example, in Buxton, where the sound of breaking waves against the wall accentuates the feeling of vulnerability. There has been overtopping in other areas as well. Den Amstel seawall on the west coast of Demerara is especially worrisome because it can fill up with water quickly and be difficult to drain. A serious health risk is posed by latrine flooding and water that has been mixed with sewage and trench water.
When discussing overtopping, it's essential to consider the northwest region of Guyana, particularly the Shell Beach protected area, which includes Almond Beach, Father's Beach, and a few other beaches as well. The largest and most intact mangrove forests in Guyana can be found in the 120 kilometers of beaches and mudflats that make up the Shell Beach protected area. For 4 species of marine turtles, it's an essential nesting site. Satellite images reveal that the region is not impervious to erosion, with some areas experiencing regression of up to 1,100 meters. The beaches are getting further and deeper into the ocean as a result of cyclical erosion and rising sea levels brought on by climate change.
Almond Beach, a once thriving community of 280 persons, was characterized by a wide coconut plantation which served as a natural barrier against the Atlantic Ocean's fury. However, the community's misfortunes began to change in 2012 as the waves and winds intensified, causing the beach to erode at an alarming rate. The coconut trees, which were once a thriving part of the community's infrastructure, began to disappear into the sea. The school, teachers' headquarters, and health hut were all situated amid this coconut plantation. As the erosion continued, the coconut trees were slowly but surely washed away, leaving the community with no choice but to relocate to higher ground, with the majority of residents moving to other communities. To date, Almond Beach only has about 3 dozen residents. The Almond Beach community's story is a poignant reminder of the devastating impact of climate change on coastal communities. The families who were forced to relocate, including those who had spent decades practicing fishing and farming, were left with no choice but to change their entire lifestyle. The loss of infrastructure, farmlands, and traditional cultures and livelihood is a direct result of rising sea levels and severe cycles of erosion.
2019 flooding of Danzig Maikoni caused significant damage to rice plots, with over 10 rice cultivated plots being inundated with salt water. This had a devastating impact on the agricultural sector. Now, as we know, rice is a major crop in Guyana, so the floodwaters also affected small-scale subsistence, farms, and livestock, including poultry. The flood caused destruction to homes, with residents reporting up to 18 inches of water in their homes. The floodwaters also affected businesses, including shops and other commercial establishments. Additionally, the flood also resulted in the loss of livestock, including poultry, which was a significant blow to the local economy. The floodwaters also contaminated the soil, making it difficult for farmers to cultivate crops and leading to the loss of livelihoods for many people in the area. The flood had a profound impact on the community, causing significant damage to the infrastructure, agriculture, and the economy. The floodwaters also posed public health risks, highlighting the need for proper sea defense infrastructure and drainage mechanisms. The government and other stakeholders responded to the flood by providing relief, including cleaning hampers, sandbags, and excavators to alleviate some of the flood waters. This was how members of the community were affected.
I never seen thing like this. We never got flood like this with the salt water.
And I just then looking at this water all the time. I say, Father God, only you could call it.
We lost about 10-acre rice and everything dug up in water. So I don't got nothing, just milk cow and sell. Me not got nothing now for do, nothing, help.
You can't stay here.
If they relocate us where to and under what, because remember, some people just depend on livestock, some people depend on rice farming. Where would they push their head to go and where would they plant?
Where me pray for that the water go down for let me animal and survive.
Coastal communities of Guyana have shown remarkable resilience in the face of the tide's relentless power. Despite the constant threat of erosion, flooding, and saltwater contamination, these communities have found ways to adapt and thrive. Mangrove ecosystems have been a vital part of this resilience. These natural barriers against the ocean's fury have protected communities from the impacts of sea level rise, coastal storm events, and natural resource scarcity. By preserving and restoring these ecosystems, communities have been able to maintain their livelihoods and way of life. Guyana has a robust framework for disaster risk management, including the National Multi-Hazard Early Warning System framework. Community-based initiatives have also been implemented, building social resilience and improving the capacity of communities to respond to disasters. Conservation International has been working to increase climate resilience for vulnerable coastal communities by integrating natural coastal ecosystems with man-made infrastructure. This approach recognizes the importance of preserving natural ecosystems, such as mangroves, in protecting communities from the impacts of climate change. Communities have adapted to flooding by relocating to higher ground and implementing measures to protect their homes and livelihoods. For example, farmers have sought new lands to engage in rice cultivation after their fields were contaminated with salt water during a flood event.
One of the key initiatives undertaken by the Guyanese government and local communities is the construction of robust seawalls. These towering barriers, built with reinforced concrete and strategically placed, serve as the first line of defense against the encroaching waves. The communities work tirelessly to maintain and strengthen these structures, ensuring they can withstand the powerful forces of nature. As the coastline recedes, traditional farming methods have become increasingly challenging. However, Guyana's coastal residents have adapted by embracing innovative agricultural techniques. They have developed salt-tolerant crop varieties, implemented water-efficient irrigation systems, and explored alternative livelihood options such as aquaculture and ecotourism.
In conclusion, Guyana's coastal communities have demonstrated significant resilience in the face of climate change, and their ability to adapt and respond to the changing climate is a testament to their strength and determination. Our country's efforts to enhance climate adaptation and reduce flood risk, as well as its commitment to sustainable development and conservation, are critical in ensuring the long-term resilience of our coastal communities.
We are a peaceful people, struggle is we struggle, and we don't look for trouble, just ask around. But when outside faces from foreign places talk about taking over, we ain't backing down. We ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one caress, not a blade of grass. This land is all I know,